Turbo and 2K show.
What's up, 2K crew? Yes, it is us. We are back again. Of course, we kind of had to take a little hiatus for the 4th of July 2Ks. I mean, granted, most of our 2K crew have probably seen us just a few sheets to the wind, but don't think it would have been really professional to kind of come in and just be all drunk and sloppy. So, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it would have been hilarious. but yeah, we took some time with the fam. You know, this is kind of the busy time of the year with the 4th of July, and then you got Mother's Day and Father's Day. So then graduation season and all the other stuff in between. But we are back. We are here today, 2K crew. We got a loaded show to talk to you about. We're going to talk a little bit about the MLB draft. Probably going to work in some home run derby talk, but we're going to also do our winners and losers of the first half of the baseball season, and kind of gargle some dicks here with a couple of players that probably have been on the past 3 or 4 shows. So if you do enjoy Shohei Ohtani talk and Elly De La Cruz talk, you were in the right spot, 2K crew. I am Turbo. This is Kyle 2K's Kaler sitting across from me. Welcome everyone that is joining us live, either on Facebook or YouTube. If you are on Facebook, go ahead and hop over to YouTube. And we'll give you the full experience. And while you're over there, go ahead and hit that like, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you get notified every time we go live. And for those of you on the audio side, you guys are unsung heroes. We do enjoy each and every download that you guys give us. Go ahead and give us a follow there as well. All this following and subscribing 2Ks is totally free. Yeah. Doesn't cost you a damn dime, but it helps us. And with all that aside, 2Ks, let's rip the Band-Aid off. Your Tigers threw a no-hitter yesterday.
Yeah.
No-hitter.
Not the traditional way. But,
the Tigers don't do anything traditional.
No. But no, it was impressive to see. You had three guys together, and to pull it off and to actually win a game. So,
yeah. Well, I would sure hope so. That would be a Detroit thing if they threw a no-hitter yet still lost.
Yeah. So. Yeah, take it to extra innings and then lose it, and then followed up a great day yesterday of a no-hitter today, and blow one in the ninth and then go on to extra innings to lose it again. So, it didn't take long for them to get right back to what they're known for, what they know how to do best. And but no, it was impressive.
Scooble's start looked great today.
Yeah. But really both of his starts. I know his first start last week was against Oakland. What really can you take out of that? But today, going against a very good Toronto offense, he's impressive. It's good to get him back. And I'm excited to see what some of these guys coming back are going to do now. Yeah. Come Friday night after the All-Star break when they get back to going again. So, no, it's exciting. Riley Green's been another one. He's been back now for 2 or 3 games, and he's been great. I think yesterday was his first game back. Went 2 for 2 with a couple of walks. Today hits a home run. Yeah. So it's good. It's good to get him back. And look, as bad as this shit has been, we're 5.5 back. Yeah. And it's sad to say it, but Cleveland and Twins are the 2 teams in the division that they're going to have to try to play a little catch-up ball with here down the stretch. But with getting some of these guys back, I don't know. We'll see what they do at the deadline. I think they're going to be active and maybe getting rid of an arm or 2. But it's exciting, and we got some kids in the AAA that are playing pretty well. That they DFA'd Scope here earlier this week. They DFA'd Marisnik today. Mm-hmm. It would not shock me if maybe we see a Colt Keith here by the end of the week. I think it's coming. I think it's coming soon.
And this is you mentioned that this last series was with the Blue Jays. Mm-hmm. Previous series was with the A's. Now, I take a little bit more out of it that they actually no-hit a very good offensive team. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got I'd have to look up the stats, but the last time I saw, Bo Bichette was either 1 or 2 for batting average in the AL. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of hard to compare a no-hitter to a perfect game that was thrown against the A's a couple weeks ago, but I take a lot of positives out of that. And you're right. If you are a Tigers fan, you're getting a lot of these pieces back. I'm not saying that they're going to be buyers by any means going into free agency, which is just about a month away now. But I think the likelihood of holding on to some pieces is probably a little bit greater, or drives that asking price up for some of these guys, and which I think it's fair to say that both Skubal and Green probably untouchable at this point. But they're getting healthy. I think they've got a good mojo going, and I actually think it's going to be exciting to watch them in the second half, because the Twins are leading this thing at playing 500 baseball. So is it within the possibility that the Tigers could play over 500 baseball for the second half of the season? I don't see why not. I don't see why not, especially most of these games they have are in division. And this division stinks.
And that's the thing too, is 2-3 years in a row now the Tigers have went into the deadline and they've been desperate, right? I mean, they've been out of it. They've been way out of it. Haven't had a chance. And I think teams that are, they're trying to link up with to make trades, they know that they're desperate. And when you're desperate like that, you're not going to get the haul that I think, maybe that you deserve out of some players. And plus, with the change of now with Avila not being there,
that's huge.
I don't know a whole lot about Scott Harris. This is his first year, but listening to him talk, it sounds like he has a plan. I trust him. I don't think he's just gonna. I don't think he's going to go into this deadline and just give guys away just because you have to. But I do think that they're going to probably be active, because I think there's some guys on that roster that could be very, very valuable for some of these teams here down the stretch. I'm talking more like Alex Lange. I don't know about Eduardo Rodriguez. To me, the injuries would scare me a little bit. There's a lot of money going on there. He's got the opt-out at the end of the year. But like an Alex Lange or a Michael Lorenzen, who's been, very positive. Actually, I get it that every team has to have an all-star representative. But I would have never guessed Lorenzen would be our all-star representative for the Tigers team. So he's been, a pretty good breath of fresh air. I think teams are going to look at somebody for him. When you get to the playoffs, you need pitching, and you need depth in that position. And Lorenzen,
especially bullpen.
Lorenzen is a guy that can come out of the bullpen and pitch for them and get outs. And Alex Lange is, he's been, and I know he blew one today, but he's been one of the better closers in the game here for the last couple of years. So I think teams are going to be calling on those, and we'll see what happens. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is I don't think that Harris is just going to walk into this deadline and get fleeced. I don't think he's going to give guys away. He's got a plan, and this team has played to that plan. And I think Hinch and him have. I get it that they're probably 6-7 games below 500 right now, but to me, this team has played better than what I expected. I don't know what others' expectations were, but I mean, after watching this team in the first couple of weeks of the season, I was like, this is the worst Tigers roster that I've seen in a long time. So for them to be where they're at, and look, they benefit off of being in the worst division in baseball, but they have a chance. And, you call up some of these kids here that are, performing in the AAA, and then getting a guy like Skubal back and getting Eduardo healthy. I think they can, maybe make a run for it, unless the Twins and the Indians just start playing out of their minds, which to this point they haven't played any really much better than the Tigers. So,
and if you look at those two teams that are ahead of the Tigers, they're not normally known for making big splashes at the trade deadline, unless it's offloading players. Cleveland is not a big free agent friendly team. It just isn't. It seems like every big name they get, they ship them off. The Twins, I mean, they made the splash with Correa, but other than that, I don't really remember those two teams being an active participant on the buying side. So as far as those two teams getting better, I'm sure they'll add something, yes, but as far as like a big splash, I really don't see it.
No, I don't think so either. Right?
I mean, you could take a look at the White Sox below the Tigers. I have a feeling that roster is potentially being blown up. The Royals, who the hell knows? I mean, they're the Royals. Which the Royals actually have a worse record. No, they're one game ahead of Oakland for the worst record. So,
And I just don't think, like, so say you're the Twins or you're the Indians in this situation, like, are you really willing to, trade away one or two of your higher end prospects for a team that, I mean, even if you do add somebody, are you really gonna? You think you can compete with Tampa, or do you think you can compete with Baltimore? Do you think you can compete with the Rangers at this point? Like, I don't even think you're close. I don't think any of these teams are. So, yeah, it would be great to get to the playoffs, and what that does for a fan base and bring some excitement into it. But at the same time, and with baseball, it's a lot different than all the other sports. You have to look more big picture than look at what's just in front of you right now. But then on the other side of things, when you are a team like the Texas Rangers, or you're a team like the Baltimore Orioles, like you're right there, and maybe you can play with. I mean, both of these teams have proven that they can play with Tampa. Like, I think right now Tampa has kind of separated themselves as the best team in the American League, but when you're that good, maybe a team like that, maybe you are only missing just two pieces that those are the teams I think will be active in the deadline, to where teams that are not going to be able to compete with regardless of what they do, that's where the Indians and the Twins come in. I don't think that they do a whole lot, when it comes to the deadline time. And then then over to the National League too. I mean, there's teams in the National League that Phillies that are on the outside right now looking in. That those are the teams that I expect, because I think that they have all the talent. They just might be one arm away or maybe one bat away. So we'll see what happens. This is always a very exciting part of baseball. I mean, obviously as a fan, you would rather be on the side where you're buying, but I don't know. I'd like to see the Tigers be able to pull off a good trade and maybe get a prospect or two and get.
Yeah. Which I don't foresee that being an issue. But you're right with the new GM. This is his time to shine. This is his time to further distance himself from the Alavila era, and I think he's super excited about that, or at least he should be.
And to talk about kind of transition into another topic with Harris today, is I think he kind of went away with what everybody expected him to do, and kind of took a flyer on a pick when we start talking about what the Tigers did with the third pick. Everybody kind of had it. I mean, look, this shit has changed so many times here in the last week of what's going to happen in this draft. To me, I think Skeens, who ended up going number one, was the best player in the draft. I mean, I haven't seen a pitcher this good in college, and I mean, this kid, he not only was the best pitcher in college baseball this year, but he could get outs in Major League Baseball right now, and there's no question in my mind.
I have a very good feeling we'll see Mr. Skeens in the big leagues
soon.
Very soon.
Very, very soon.
Very soon, because let's be honest, the Pirates stink, and they're continuing to stink. So I have a feeling, especially with a pitcher, especially a pitcher of that caliber, the learning curve is a lot smaller than with a hitter, I would think. But you never know. Some of the hitters that went in the very top of this draft 2Ks. I mean, now the Tigers pick, we're not going to see him this year.
No, we're not going to see him.
He's a high school.
We're not going to see him for a while, and I'm kind of have mixed feelings on it right now. I don't really know what to expect, but. To me, you had two kids. You had both the kids from LSU. Those were the two best players in the draft. And then you had Langford from Florida, who I thought kind of leading up all the way in the last few weeks that he was just destined to be a Tiger.
And he was sitting right there.
And then and he's on the board. And the Tigers decided to go Max Clark, best high school player in the draft. Ton of upside, and they chose the upside over the proven talent. But they did this a couple years ago with Riley Green, and I think it's worked out just fine.
Yeah.
So give it some time. It might not be the pick that you wanted, but if you're truly sitting here expecting the Tigers to be competing by 2024 and 25, and this Langford kid would have been ready for him, I think you're out of your mind on it. I think we're looking into a little bit more past that time. I would hope that by 24, 25, they're competing better than what they are now, but I don't know if they're going to be, Langford's going to be the missing link piece to bring that team together. They got a lot of shit that they got to handle, a lot more work, and pitching, defense, hitting, like all the above. So, as far as what the upside with this kid and just what you read, it sounds like he can do everything. So, with Langford, he had a great hitter. He had a great college career, but he's a corner outfielder. There's not really any upside with the running. There's not really. And with some of the new rule changes and the way that these teams are playing now, you get that guy that can steal you 40, 50 bags.
Yeah.
And then also hit for power. I mean, look at some of the best players in the game today. I mean, Ronald Acuna Jr., Mike Trout. When Mike Trout first came to the big leagues, he was stealing bases all over the place. Yeah. And then the other thing that I like reading about him is it sounds like he's a very high motor.
It does.
Compare him to Bryce Harper. Like, I don't know. Say what you want to say about Bryce Harper. Maybe some people don't like him, don't like the way that he carries himself, but I fucking love that shit. And I think when you look at this Tigers team right now, I think it's one of the major things that they're lacking in there is having that high motor guy. They got some young talent coming up, but they're even talking about Miggy. Like, Miggy's always just been a kind of a, come to the ballpark, business kind of guy, but not really necessarily a high motor type of player to where. Maybe this is what the Tigers are missing here, and in 4 or 5 years when he's ready to go.
Pants.
Yeah, right. A guy that's ready to just fucking
and brings an attitude.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about a bad attitude, just a work ethic attitude. Yeah. It's like when you have a white defensive end in the draft, he has a high motor.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Max Crosby type of player.
Plays like his hair's on fire every play, and to be honest with you, the emotion. And I could be totally wrong because I have not watched nearly as many Tigers games this year as I have in the past. But it seems like kind of an emotionless team. Like there's no juice. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And all the interviews they did with this kid prior to the draft, I thought very composed for a kid that just graduated high school. So we have to keep that in mind. But I'm not if I'm a Tigers fan, I'm not mad at the pick.
No, I'm not mad at the pick. Look, if Cruz was still on the board,
hands.
Now I'm kind of mad because Cruz brings everything. He is a 5-tool player.
Yeah.
But as far as upside and what we could see, here potentially in a few years, this kid probably has the most upside of anybody in this draft. Now, don't think I'm not going to be watching what Langford does these next 4 or 5 years because I will be watching. And look, the kid can fucking hit. There's no question there. You can make an argument that he was the best hitter in college baseball last year. But when you have this, when you're drafting, for a Major League Baseball team, are you kind of limiting yourself when you take that corner outfielder that has a really good bat but doesn't have there's nothing really about his game that just completely stands out to you. He's just a very, very good baseball player. And sometimes with baseball, you have to take that chance, and that's how you end up with with a special franchise player for years and years and years. Is you take that risk on a high school kid, and so for me, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping he's the next Mike Trout. I'm hoping that he's the next Bryce Harper, somebody that's going to just take over, give him 3 or 4 years in minor league ball, and then just be ready to just take over. We'll see.
Well, that's kind of our Tigers/draft recap here, 2K crew. So let's jump into some winners and losers of the first half 2Ks, and start out with probably, I think you and I will agree, the biggest winner so far in the Atlanta Braves.
God damn, they're good.
I got a couple of tweets here. This is from @GB70. This was tweeted on 6:30. The Atlanta Braves currently do not employ a single player having a below league average offensive season. The lowest batting average on here is 237. It's Matt Olson. Do you know what? Matt Olson leads the NL in home runs. Yeah. Probably very, very high in RBIs.
I'm okay with that trade-off.
Yeah. So this, and I don't know if we talked about it on this podcast, 2Ks, but Jared Carabas tweeted out a question on Twitter. He asked, for the lifelong Braves fans, are you more excited watching this team or the team of the 90s that dominated that whole decade? Two very different teams. I remember vividly watching that whole run. This team right now, the way it's put together, is 10 times more fun to watch than that team.
I hands down agree. And look, that team from the 90s, they won one.
Yeah.
This team has won one also.
Yep.
I think this team's going to win multiple more here in the next, they're my favorite right now to win it all this year. I don't see why things would be much different next year. They have, and the scariest thing about it, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, they have space. They have cap space to go add more.
Yeah.
They can add more at this deadline if they want to. They can add more in the offseason if they want to. They don't have guys that are going away.
Like
they have guys under control.
We kind of jokingly around said that they'd be a great team for Shohei.
Yeah.
Do they have that much caps? Do they have that much money to spend? I have no idea.
I don't know how many teams in baseball do have that much cap space.
And if they do, they're terrible.
Yeah.
And there's no way I have a feeling Shohei just isn't going to take a bag and just get paid. He wants to win too.
As good as this Braves team's been, they haven't had other pitching. I mean, they've had pretty much their whole offense all season long, but their pitching, when you talk about Kyle Wright, Max Fried, and not having those guys for a majority of this season.
Fried is expected back after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Breaking news: this team's just getting better, and they're the best team in baseball. Mm-hmm. The best team. They have the best record in baseball. They have 60 wins as compared to Tampa Bay's 58. They're very close in run differential. Tampa has two more runs than the Braves. But this is.
I don't. And the thing is, like when you compare those two teams, I don't think that Tampa's even close. Like take away just the fucking crazy start that Tampa has on this season, where there's 25-4 at one time, or it's just something.
They won like the first 18 or 19 games.
Yeah, it was just something insane that we've never really even seen. You take that away, they have. I mean, they've been good, but they haven't been like great since that first month and a half of the season.
These two teams just finished up a 3-game series where Atlanta took the first two.
Mm-hmm.
So potential World Series, showcase there. Sure, and I think baseball fans would be excited for that. I don't think it would get a lot of views. It probably won't get a lot of eyes on that series. But I think you talk about pitching, hitting, the whole night. Two very, very well coached teams. Creme de la creme. Those two teams right now are at a pedestal that none of the other teams in MLB can reach right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
I agree.
And that's like Tampa's 4 games up on Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore's a great story this year that I think is being overshadowed by the success of the Rays. If the Rays got off to a normal start, we'd be looking at this Orioles team at the top of the AL East.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the Braves, I mean, the Braves are the hottest team in baseball. And yet the Marlins are probably, even though they're last 10, Atlanta's 8-2, Marlins are 5-5. Marlins have come on 2Ks. Mm-hmm. I mean,
Marlins are good. They are very good.
Like we were talking about pre-show, pretty much without Jazz all year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been back and then off, back and then off. So that's another sneaky team. And then we look at Dodgers and Diamondbacks are tied for the lead in the West with the Giants 2.5 back. So now that let me give you some more Braves tweets here, 2Ks. This is from Barstool Baseball, @Stool Baseball. The Atlanta Braves have a 58-18, or the Braves have to go 58-18 in order to tie the 2001 Mariners for the best record all time. Will they do it? They got a shot.
Mm-hmm.
They got a shot, especially like you said, they're actually getting healthier. They could make moves that I think very few teams, aside from like the Dodgers, could even make, because their farm system is so deep, and they have a player like Ozuna that they could easily walk away from and really probably not even skip too much of a beat.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the last Braves tweet here. This is from CBS Sports. The Atlanta Braves have hit 167 home runs so far this season. That's the most before the All-Star break in MLB history. Now, what's crazy about that stat, 2Ks, is they have like what I would think is their big bopper in the lineup in Acuna isn't even leading the team. I think he's like 3rd or 4th on the team, to be honest with you. And you and I were looking at this. It was either on Thursday or this weekend, and Ozzie Albies has over 20 home runs. Ozzie Albies has more home runs than Acuna, which kind of blows my mind. But it just goes to show you that this team is deep. This team can do everything, which is why in my eyes, they are the biggest winner of this first half. Your thoughts, 2Ks?
Yeah, I know. I agree. There's no hole in the lineup. There's the best pitching, especially when they get healthy, when they get Fried back, their best starting pitching in the league. The only thing where I think that they're going to be active come deadline time is I think they have to shore up their bullpen, like especially the back half. That's about the only thing I can see in their game where if they can shore up that, go and find themselves a dominant, relief piece. To me, that's all they're my favorite to win it all, and I really can't come up with any argument on it.
No, and the 2K crew, if you are watching, let us know who your biggest winners and losers are of the first half, because to me, then probably the next winner I would say is the Texas Rangers 2Ks. I think neither one of us probably had them leading the division at this point in the season.
We talked just about the Tigers passing up on Langford in the draft today.
And they get
number 3. And Texas Rangers at pick number 4. That tells you where they were at last year. Mm-hmm. And to make the jump that they made and where they're at right now, to me, they're a bigger surprise to me and probably a bigger positive than both the Braves and Tampa Bay. To have this team that picking today in the draft at number 4 and to be one of the best teams. Make an argument that they're the best team in the American League. Mm-hmm. They have the best offense. They're another team that has to shore up pitching.
Yes, I mean, and they're doing this without DeGrom. Mm-hmm. I mean, DeGrom made 9 starts somewhere around there, and I mean, they're 52-39.
And the thing is, I sit here and I rip on their pitching and say that they have to shore it up, and they've pitched the ball really, really well.
Evaldi's pitching out of his.
Evaldi's he's been awesome. I mean, you can make a bid for him for Cy Young.
Certainly,
but. I think the thing about it is just me as a baseball fan. I think a reason why I say that they have to share up pitching is because I just don't know any of the other names. I can't sit here and confidently just rip off another starting pitcher name for the Texas Rangers other than Evaldi, with DeGrom also being down.
Yep. Yeah,
so
I'm the same way.
But if you look at their statistics and how they pitched it, they're at the top. They're at the top in everything.
And this team has to do – the Rangers have to be active here, 2Ks. They're 2 games up on the Astros. Mm. If Texas wants to win this division, and the Mariners are hot too, dude. And the Mariners are hot sitting 6 back.
The thing that the Astros have for them is there's a guy by the name of Yordan Alvarez.
Yes.
He's coming. He's going to be back here pretty soon. And all of a sudden that Houston offense is going to – because Mr. Yordan is – maybe the best hitter in the American League, and other than Ohtani. Yeah. Other than Ohtani. But I would say he's probably the next best, especially power hitter.
Yes, especially power hitter, yes.
In the game. So to get that bat back with the season that Kyle Tucker's having, Alex Bregman didn't have Altuve for the beginning of that season. He's healthy now. Like, as much as I hate to say it, because we all fucking don't like him.
And the Astros are going to be just as they have to be busier than the Rangers, because they're. You mentioned it. They've been riddled with injuries. So, I mean, obviously so have the Rangers. But the Astros more in pitching. Their starters have been decimated. McCullers Jr. will not play this year, amongst some others. So I have a feeling in the American League you're going to see those 2 teams be the most active. Could either one be in like a Marcus Stroman sweepstakes? Possibly. What's his name? The lefty for the Cardinals that used to play for the Yankees. I think he's going to be a big piece that someone adds.
Montgomery.
Montgomery. Thank you. And Texas has already been active. They get Chapman, and he's not even closing. He's not even closing. He's pumping out 103 coming out of the bullpen, setting up for the closer. I mean, how sick and nasty is that? Well, 2Ks, we've kind of talked about the winners, so I'm just going to lump the losers all in one big basket here, 2Ks. I'm going the Yankees, the Mets, and the Padres, the top 3 payrolls in baseball. And they're all terrible. They're all terrible. The Yankees are still above 500, barely. But the other ones, I mean, this New York Mets team is horrific. This Padres team is terrible. Those 2 teams played a 3-game set leading into this weekend, and it's I don't know why, but I don't know if it's just 2 terrible teams having great days against each other, But if you watch that series 2Ks, it's like these are the two teams we thought we were getting all year, not this terrible representation up to this point. And it leads you to think, all right, if you're the Yankees, you're stuck.
Yeah,
you are stuck.
As much as I hate the Yankees, we all know the only reason I can't have them like in the top 3 is because for them to still be 5-6 games above 500 and play all these games without Judge. Because we've seen it now. This offense is completely different when you take Judge out of there.
Night and day.
All of a sudden, they look like shit. Now they have gotten Stanton back. Stanton's hit some home runs. He's, the pop is there. Donaldson has hit a couple home runs here in the last, but it's just like they're so.
80% of
this team is
Donaldson's
so
hits
fucking
are home
ancient.
runs.
But have still, been able to keep their head above water and still say that they have a chance. To me. You're definitely right with the Mets. You're definitely right with the Padres. The next team I have in there is the Cardinals.
Yes.
I mean, this Cardinals team, you have Nolan Arenado, you have Paul Goldschmidt, and then you have some very, very good young talent. You have guys that were supposed to be good pitchers.
You got the best catcher in free agency
went out
to replace Yadi.
Yeah, and it's just and for
a
them
plethora
to be,
of outfielders, which I think is honestly their problem.
Yeah.
They have too many people that they're trying to get time for, and I think that's going to be one of the teams that's going to be very active at the deadline, being sellers, not for their big names. The names we just mentioned, I think, are going to be there for the long haul.
Well, you got so much money wrapped up into them. I don't think teams are going to be, interested. And I mean, you can't. What are you going to do? How are you going to explain trading away Nolan Arenado to a fan base, or trading away Paul Goldschmidt to a fan base, especially when you have them under control?
Yes.
If they're coming up on expiring contracts, something like that, different story. But it's just been a complete dumpster fire there.
Yeah.
They have no plan. I don't see any way that this team gets it going.
I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked the coach hasn't been fired.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially like earlier in the season when they were just some of the decisions that he was making, and then made the decision to bench the catcher. I can't names. Contreras benched him, then had him as a DH. Now he's back. I see he's back to catching again. But it just seems like there's no plan there. There's no true leader there. I mean, that's your job as a manager in baseball. Is you basically just look. You're dealing with the best players in the game. They all know how to play. They all know everything about it. So you're just basically putting the best strategy out there, putting out the best lineup, and then making sure that you keep everybody happy. And that's your job. And he's not doing a good job of that. No. And then. You go over and look at the Mets and all the money that the Mets have invested into this, and to go out and grab 2 pitchers that are fucking 40 years old and spend $40 million a piece on them for it's just, and then for them to just be Scherzer has not been great, Verlander has not been.
He's actually 8-2, believe it or not.
Yeah,
but the ERA is 4.5.
Yeah,
that's the part that worries me.
And the thing is, I think that those two kind of get a bad rap because they really haven't been as bad as what they say. No. It's just this team has been so fucking bad that everybody just pounces on the first thing that they see.
Yeah.
Oh, we got so much money invested into these 2 guys. Well, let's fucking take a look at Pete Alonso, who has not played the way that he's now. The power numbers there, yes, but there's more to it than just Pete Alonso hitting 25 single-run shots. Yeah. Not going to win a lot of ball games. Francisco Lindor, got to be better. I mean, plain and simple, you got to be better, and then everything else that comes around that. Other
they just
guys
re-signed.
Have got to step up.
They extended Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah.
So Jared and the boys on Baseball is Dead did a really good breakdown of, okay, if this team does decide to blow it up, who do you move? You really can't. You really can't because there's no team, including I'm going to go out there and say, including the Dodgers, that would take the remainder of a JV contract or a max contract right now. So, and we tend to think of the Dodgers being the team that's looser with their money, which in the past handful of years they have been. But I don't even see them.
This reminds me so much of the Tigers from 8-9 years ago. You sign, you bring Justin Upton in, you sign him, you have.
JD Martinez.
JD Martinez coming up on an expiring contract, and you're going to have to pay him. You're already paying a boatload of money out to Miguel Cabrera. You're paying a boatload of money out to Ian Kinsler. You're paying Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Anibal Sanchez, Jordan Zimmerman. It just keeps you, and you're paying all of these guys, and this reminds
favorite Tiger ever.
So much of it what the Mets are going to go through right now is the Mets aren't even close. The Mets aren't going to make the playoffs this year. The Mets are fucking bad, but I don't know how you sell out of this. The way that the Tigers did it is they sold and they got hosed. They got fleeced on trades because they were desperate and they had to move money and they had to rebuild that farm system that was just fucking depleted to nothing. And to me, that's where the Mets are now.
Yeah.
And the Mets are going to have to make some tough decisions here. But now, on the other side of it, I think the Mets will probably try to buy their way out of a lot of this shit. They're going to try to, they'll try to finagle deals, or they might just keep on fucking buying and bringing in more talent and seeing what they can do with it.
The old Steinbrenner way.
But it's a bad problem. I don't see it with, and to me it's funny because I don't like the Yankees and I don't like the Mets any more than I like, so it's funny to sit back and watch this. But for me, though, the absolute worst situation in all of baseball, it's fucking pathetic to me, is the Padres.
Yes.
You have Juan Soto, you have Manny Machado, you have Fernando Tatis Jr., you went out and brought over Xander Bogaerts in the offseason. You have Blake Snell as a pitcher. You have Joe Musgrove as a pitcher. Like, can we just keep on listing off? I mean, your whole fucking infield are shortstops.
Yeah.
You have Yu Darvish. Mm-hmm. You have Cronenworth, who's been great. You have, you just keep on naming off player after player after player. And for this team to be 5-6 games below 500 is just an absolute fucking joke. It is a joke. Mr. Melvin over there as the manager, not working. Yeah. Things have got to be flipped around, and people are going to have to start being held accountable a little bit on that. I don't know what's going to happen there, but this was a team that everybody was saying, I think a lot of people had them favored to win it all this year with everything that they had coming back in. I don't know if there was a team in baseball talked about more than this team in the offseason with everything coming up, and now it's just it's bad. If you're that group, you have to be embarrassed at this point.
Yeah, and I 110% agree with everything you just said. But I think out of the teams that we just mentioned, if there was a switch to be flipped, I think it's that team easier than any of the other teams that we just talked about.
Absolutely, I agree. And I hope so. I mean, like those, I named off guys that I really like. Mm-hmm. Manny Machado's got to be fucking better.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to hit for more power.
He hit 2 home runs today.
Juan Soto got to be better. Mm-hmm. I get it. Juan Soto has the best walk ratio in the game. Doesn't swing at pitches out of the zone. Doesn't gets on base. That can't be his fucking job.
No.
Juan Soto's he takes more good pitches than anybody I've ever watched play baseball. Look, I've told you multiple times, he's my favorite player in all of baseball. Mm-hmm. I want the Juan Soto back that played fearless for the Washington Nationals in that World Series run when they went on to win the World Series. They went on to win the World Series because of that guy, because of Anthony Rendon, and that team just got hot at the right moment. But for me, Juan Soto, that version of Juan Soto is that team gravitated to how he played and how he acted, and everything was built around that. And that's the Juan Soto that the Padres need to get back, not the fucking guy that's taking 2 or 3 walks in a game. That shit does you nothing. There's no way that you can look at that lineup and be like, Soto, we just need you to get on base. Fuck that. Mm-hmm. He needs to be swinging, and he needs to be swinging at those good pitches, because more than often good things happen. I'm talking doubles and home runs, and that's the shit that wins ball games. So I don't know. There's some issues that I have with watching that team, and to me, that's the one that just jumps off the paper to me is to me, I think you have to hold him the most accountable out of all of them. And as far as Fernando Tatis, look, say what you want about the suspension and him missing time, but he's the best fucking player they got there right now. To me, he's their catalyst. He's the one that brings it every single day. And these other guys, I think they just fucking have coasted to this point.
Yeah. And kudos to Tatis, because he could have been the one come back and pissed and belly ached, and he said, "No, I'm going to prove to you that this was not what it was out or pointed out to be," and rightfully so. He probably should have been their all-star for that whole squad. Mm-hmm. I understand because of the suspension he can't be an all-star. I get that and I respect that. But in every baseball fan's eyes, he is their all-star.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm a Padres fan, he's the only one that I'm not disappointed in at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and you would think with as young of a team as that is, there has to be some sort of charisma. There has to be some sort of juice. But when they're winning, there is. When they're losing, there's not. Mm-hmm. And it's a very vast difference between the two. And someone's got to step up there and be like, yo, get your dick out of the dirt. Let's go play ball because that's what we're paid to do. And we, on paper, we should be the best team in baseball.
Yeah, they're way, way, way too good to be. Look, this is a team that, in my eyes, they're so good that if they played bad baseball, they should still be 7-8 games above 500.
100%.
And for them to be where they're at, like that, it's just been an atrocious first half of the season. Luckily, we have a second half of the season to go. And like you said earlier, if there was a team out of these 3-4 teams that we just talked about, I absolutely 100% agree. I mean, eventually, you're talking potential future Hall of Famers here.
Yeah.
You have to think these guys are going to fucking pick it up and get it going at some time. I mean, it's got to happen, right?
I would think so. But you know who doesn't suck 2Ks? Shohei Ohtani.
No. God, no. Jeez,
I was trying to figure out a way to put Shohei and Elly into the winners and losers, but I figured they needed their own conversation. So we have gargled the balls of Mr. Ohtani for quite some time and probably will continue through the rest of this year. Even with a broken fingernail and a blister, continues to hit home runs.
fucking legged out a triple last night.
And
double away from the cycle.
And since you brought that up, Ben Verlander posted Shohei Ohtani now leads the league in home runs and triples, which is insane, which is absolutely insane. And here's another one. You and I were talking about this at your house. Crazy stat right here. If you bet $100 daily on Shohei Ohtani to hit a home run in June so far, 29 days, this was posted on June 29th, you would be up about $4,500 this month. And I'm curious to see how many people do this in July.
Yeah.
And here's a couple more. This was
After you read off a stat like that to our listeners, we should probably follow it up with the 1-800 gambling problem or whatever number that is.
Go on FanDuel and look up their Gamblers Anonymous. This is from Matthew Brownstein. Shohei Ohtani finished the month of June with a 1.44 OPS over 126 plate appearances. The only players to post a higher OPS in a single month, minimum of 125 plate appearances since 1901 are Babe Ruth. I've heard of him. Lou Gehrig. Heard of him too. Joe DiMaggio. Heard of him as well. And Rogers Hornsby. And Ohtani, and these gentlemen did it multiple times. Babe Ruth has the top 5 OPS for a month, and then there's Gehrig, DiMaggio, Ruth, Gehrig, Hornsby, Ohtani. And the one that's closest to like date wise was Joe DiMaggio in 1937. That's insane.
Yeah.
And he's top 5 in strikeouts too as a pitcher.
Yeah.
So figure that.
And I hate this fucking comparing players from generation to generation. But those other names that you named off, look, they were fucking playing against roofers and plumbers.
Yes.
And guys that were topping out at in the upper 80s, maybe low 90s. Ohtani's doing this against the talent of baseball.
Yes.
Today is not anything that was ever, we never saw that back then. That was never even a thing. We have guys that are coming out, starting games, throwing
100 miles an hour.
Yes, and still throwing that come the 7th or the 8th. Or we have teams now that just roll a bullpen game out there and they'll throw fucking 6 guys at you, and all 6 of them throw triple digits.
Red Sox did it today.
So we have Ohtani who's doing that against this is the best talent the game has ever seen, and Ohtani's doing it against that. And then, like you said, just turns around every 5th day and fucking shoves it up at some offense's ass too. He's the best baseball player. He's the best baseball player we've ever seen.
Yes, and to kind of, I don't know if this is a tweet that's gonna blow your mind or kind of put it kind of in perspective. This is from Flippin' Bats podcast. Tough to even wrap your head around. Shohei Ohtani might be having the single greatest season in baseball history. And he says there's a legitimate case of Cy Young, Triple Crown, and MVP. He's got the MVP sewn up. I mean, the other two are where the rubber meets the road. Oh, excuse me. That was a quote from Ben Verlander, not Flippin' Bats podcast, but is there a chance? Yeah. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of other pitchers that are in the American League. Now, we're saying this MVP and Triple Crown and Cy Young. Kind of, are we assuming he's staying in the American League?
Sure.
I mean, I think at this point we kind of have to, right? Mm-hmm. Is there a shot? Yeah. If he gets traded to the National League, there's not a shot because he's not catching Arias for the batting average for a Triple Crown. Do I think this is going to happen? No. Do I think there's more of a chance to get a Cy Young than a Triple Crown? Sure. I sure do. Because the Cy Young is a vote. No one votes for the Triple Crown. You have to actually check all three of those boxes. So that's a little bit harder than a Cy Young. But, I mean, even two out of the three doesn't happen that often.
The thing that's crazy to me with Ohtani is, rewind 3 years ago, and it was the same conversation. This guy's having the best season that we've ever seen in all of baseball in history. And you go to next year, or to last year. This guy's having the best season that we've ever seen in baseball. I mean, Ohtani was the most valuable player last year in Major League Baseball. Look, I get it. Aaron Judge won it. The home runs spoke for themselves. He's a New York Yankee. He was in the playoffs.
Bingo.
Like, there was a lot of things that played into that. But Ohtani was the best player in baseball last year.
Yes.
Hands down. And we said, and there was conversations said last year, like, he's putting up better numbers and a better season than what he did the year before that. Well, the year before that, we were saying this is the best season that we've ever seen. So last year, again, best season we've ever seen. Now this year, we're saying this is the best season he's ever. So he just continues. How does the best player that we've ever seen just continue to get better every single year? He's a Hall of Famer already. Fuck, he was probably a Hall of Famer 3 years ago when he did it the first time, both pitching and hitting. And now to be where we're at right now, like, people, we have to just sit back and just say, this is the best fucking player that has ever put on a baseball uniform and ever went out and played. The only unfortunate thing that I can come up with on him is that he hasn't played in a playoff game yet. And I think that's going to change. I think it's going to change probably after this season because I think it's safe to say this is probably it for him with the Angels. I think they ride this out. They don't trade him because you just can't.
Especially with the Trout injury.
Yeah, you just can't trade him. I mean, do I think it's probably if I'm looking at maybe what's best for the organization, yeah, you probably trade him. But, oh man, you're going to take a wrath if you do trade it. It's not. I don't have the balls to do that, so I can't expect anybody else to do it. But it's unbelievable what this guy does. And I'll be honest with you, and I mean I've said it on this podcast a lot. Like, I didn't buy into the shit a few years ago. I was like, all right, I want to prove it. I want to keep seeing it. Well, I'm right now at this point. He's the best I've ever seen, and I don't even think it's close.
No, I did see a tweet the other day that I probably should have grabbed, and I should have grabbed it so I could know exactly the numbers, but also to give credit. But his suggestion was, instead of this like 10-year mega deal, if you're the Angels, do you come to me like, hey, we'll give you 5 years, $250. It's 50 per, or even 300 for 5 years instead of 10. Because that way, I mean, you would honestly be getting the best 5 years that Ohtani has left, and not overpaying on the back end. And yet, if he still continues, then he's got a whole other contract he could cash in. Do I think that would happen? Probably not.
No, because he's going to have an agent in his ear saying, you can get this for 10 years. You can get this for 8 years.
Yeah.
And
it's guaranteed.
And it's guaranteed, exactly. And that's where, a lot of times you have to put into perspective, it's not just the player that's making these decisions. Yeah. There's people that are in every one of these players' ears that are telling them what they think is best, not only for them right now, but what is best for them in the future. And I don't think there's situations where they get to just sit back and make this decision on their own and themselves alone. So
no, unless you're Lambjack.
Yeah.
which I have a feeling if he would have gotten an agent way sooner, we would have never got to that point. But that's neither here nor there. But this last show hate tweet just kind of puts into perspective how large this man is. He's standing next to Mookie Betts. And I think Mookie's like 6'1". That's a big dude. That's a big dude. Mookie's not tiny by any means. So I just wanted to, I just thought that was a cool picture. Well, let's 2Ks. Let's continue to gargle here. Mr. Elly De La Cruz. He had quite the week. I want to say they were playing the Nationals, and the Nationals coach gets in the umpire's ear and says, "Hey, will you look at Elly's bat? There's something on the knob that I've never seen. Just why don't you check it out?" So the umpire looks at it. All the umpires look at it, and they're like, "Well, we don't know what it is." So the next pitch, he just drops dick and hits a tank and proceeds to tap on the bat, throw the bat, and then go about his business. Well, that coach's name is Davey Martinez. Was not too happy about that. Now, mind you, this was I don't know if he was the coach when Soto was there, but what's the difference between doing what Elly did and doing some of the stuff that your boy Soto would do in the box, in the playoffs, in the largest stage? So yeah, you're just unhappy because it's happening to you, not for you. So fast forward, I think it was yesterday, and this hot 2K crew. I'm going to warn you. I'm going to suggest if you're not on YouTube, you need to get on it and look at this picture, because this picture is epic. And you might be saying to yourself, well, this is from Big D from the 913, D Smith 913 KC on Twitter. Elly's sliding into home, and he to start this whole process, 2Ks, if you remember, he hits a single, steals second. They really don't pay him any attention, and the third baseman is so far off the bag, he steals third.
Yeah.
Rounds third, loses his helmet, puts his helmet back on, never really stops, and then steals home. There wasn't even a pitch thrown from the time he stole first till the time he stole home. There was one pitch. This kid's 21 years old. You and I were talking off camera. You're like, well, he needs to learn to hit a curveball. Day after we say that, he goes 5 for 5 or 4 for 4 with a walk, whatever it is. How exciting is this kid? And when are the Tigers going to get one of these guys?
Yeah, that's Jesus.
Sure
would be nice someday.
And this is an honest question. Do the Tigers do any international stuff? Because it doesn't seem like
it doesn't seem like they've done really anything for that.
No.
For especially when you look at the Avila era. Really nothing. So I hope that changes. You look at Scott Harris coming from Tampa organization. Tampa obviously has done that. So I hope that changes now. But as far as Elly, I did. I ripped on him. What was it, last week? Last week I was saying, and he was struggling. He went through probably a whole week of baseball, and pitchers caught on. He was having a hard time with anything off speed, and that's how they threw him. And he was chasing, and he couldn't hit it. And I was like, hey, this kid was batting 350, 360 after the first couple weeks. He hits for the cycle, everything's great. Now all of a sudden I'm looking, his batting average is down to 270 some. He hasn't they're just throwing him nothing but curveballs. Well, I said that, and then he must have listened to it, and because he's completely changed. Now he's been hitting them just fine. He's been getting on base, and look, you can sit here and talk all day long about how good of a baseball player Shohei Ohtani is, because he is the best. This kid is the most exciting player in baseball. As far as excitement, that shit yesterday. Well, first, talking about the Brewers, I don't know how you fall asleep or how you get lackadaisical when you have that player on the bases.
Yeah.
Like that the pitcher catches the ball, and of all guys in all of baseball, well, there's probably 2 guys in baseball that you just can't turn your back on.
Probably
Acuna.
Trey Turner. You got to put Trey Turner in there too.
Acuna definitely you can't, because you just never know what he's going to do. But Elly De La Cruz has been beating out ground balls to first base. That's been the biggest thing. Like, obviously, everybody's talked about how good he's hit the ball and how good he is in the field and how good of an arm he is and how he's a 5-tool player. But the thing that people have talked about the most with him is how fast and how disturbing he is on the bases.
Yes.
So how is it that you turn, he steals second on you, he steals third on you, and then you fucking turn your back on him?
And one of the guys on the MLB network put it perfectly. He's like, do you remember when you're in Little League and there's like the kid that is way better than everyone else and he knows it? That's what we're seeing with Elly De La Cruz.
Yeah.
And again, going back to like Little League or even like beer league softball, there's the guy that always runs and pushes the issue. A lot of times the players that do that, it works out sometimes, but not all the time. And it seems like Elly knows when to do that. And he does look like, I mean, physically and mentally, way older than 21. And it looks like he's a man playing a child's game right now. It is insane. And you were right. His average did dip to 280. And after today's game, sitting 325.
Yeah.
325.
He's doing just fine. Yeah. He's going to make it. I think it's safe to say this guy's going to make it in the bigs.
Yeah, and which kind of leads me to the Rays are winning this crappy Central Division 2Ks. They're a game up on the Brewers, and it's kind of, sitting here, it's like, okay, well, if Elly would have started the season on the big league squad, how many more games would they have won? We'll never know, but it's a question I think is fair asking, don't you? And yeah, that Reds team they're going to be the ones that I'm keeping a close eye on for this trade deadline to see what they do.
Got to get pitching.
They have to, but they're not an overspend type of team, so it's going to be really interesting to see how they maneuver with this, and kind of who they get, what pieces they have to give away.
But you got to think, like, I understand that they've never been known as like an overspending time, but like, how many fucking opportunities do you get of having this kind of talent?
Right.
And we haven't even talked about, out of all these days that these nights that we've sat here and podcasted or just talked at my house, and we rave and rave and rave about Elly De La Cruz, and we don't even talk about McLean.
No.
We don't even talk about Steer. We don't even talk about Jonathan India. Like, you're not going to have very many opportunities where you have this many really good, young, talented players. If there's ever a time to go and spend the money now, it's now. You have to. You absolutely have to. And if you don't do it, you completely just let a whole fan base down.
Yes.
And you let a guy like Elly De La Cruz down. Like, how do you can't have that talent and let him down. Don't do what the Angels did and fuck that up.
Yeah.
Because the Angels fucked it up. And now I don't know if they'll ever have true fans that will buy into that shit anymore. Especially after Shohei goes bye-bye after this season. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake. Learn from that one. And so you have a generational talent now. Don't fuck this up. You got to go spend some money.
Whatever the Braves are doing, Cincinnati, copy that.
Yeah.
Because you have that same type of core group of dudes that are the same, kind of around the same age, like Atlanta. The only thing that's different from Atlanta to Cincy is Atlanta has a nice mix of position players and pitchers that they've all kind of extended. Yep. I mean, Ronald Acuna Jr. is probably the cheapest generational player ever, if you think about it. They need to do something similar to that to Elly to make sure that, and a handful of the guys that you just mentioned. Do I think they'll get the discount that Atlanta got with Albies and Acuna? No. But you need to do something to make sure that those guys are locked up. And it's when you do stuff like that, it not only solidifies your team, it solidifies your fan base, and it also lets those guys know, like, hey, we really do care about you. We really need you on this team, and we need you to do this. So let's go. Let's go. I want you to be a Red for life, Elly, and let's do everything in our power to make sure that happens. Yeah, 2Ks. I'm super excited about this kid. He's my favorite player to watch right now. But yeah, both guys that we just talked about, you really can't say much bad about them. And they're, I think, respectively, each kind of league's version of the most electric player, I guess you could say. Well, 2Ks, before we jump into our top 5, is there anything else you wanted to bring up, winners, losers wise? You want to gargle some more Shohei or Elly? I mean, we could sit here and do that all night, but No,
covered it.
All right. Well, 2K crew, the top 5 of the week is top 5 foods at a barbecue, 2Ks. Top 5 foods at a barbecue. We just had, 4th of July, probably that and Memorial Day, kind of very symbiotic of the barbecue. Whether it's just you and your family, family, friends, you throw a whole big old party. What is number 5 on your list? Top barbecue foods, 2Ks.
Top one for me, I'm just going to keep it basic with this one. Just old-fashioned hot dog.
I like it.
Hot dog. I'm simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go wrong with a hot dog. Really hard to go wrong. You're number 4.
Number 4, it's not something I have near as much as probably all the other ones that I have on my list, but I just had it today at my mom's house for our barbecue that we had today.
Bingo.
I'm going grilled chicken, barbecue grilled chicken.
I like it. I can dig that. And especially when you do barbecue chicken like that, you kind of open the door for any number of barbecue sauces, garlic parm sauces, any sauce that you want. And, even with that, you can broaden it to chicken wings, chicken breasts. I mean, the sky is yours when you talk about grilled chicken. All right, you're number 3, 2Ks.
Number 3, keeping it simple again, burgers.
I like a good burger.
Yeah, good burger. And now, with the Blackstone
Smash burgers.
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
And the even better part about smash burgers, you can do a ton of them at once. They don't take a whole lot of time. Nope. Nice little crispiness, cheese on top. Give me a double stack, and I'm out the door. Love it. Number 2.
This one, as far as just taste, what I enjoy, this would obviously be my number 1. On the other hand, it just takes a little bit too long for me. I'm going brisket. Give me any brisket. I love it. It's probably my favorite thing in the world to eat. But it is, you got to put some time into it. It's not something that you can just whip up. Yeah, you can't just whip it up. Now it's very easy. There's not a whole lot that goes into it.
No,
but
especially when you have like a Traeger or something like that.
But it's the timing, because a lot of times when I'm hungry and when I want to eat right now. Yeah. So that's the only reason why I have a number 2 brisket. And then number 1 for me, I am a sucker. I'm going to throw a little shout out to the neighbors over here, to Mr. Terrell's Market. I'm a sucker for brats.
Yep.
Good brats. I pick a brat over a burger. I pick a brat easily pick a brat over a hot dog.
Oh, 100%.
But I would pick a good, my favorite, obviously, Terrell's Market, and throwing a shout out to them.
Shout out to Ron and the girls over there.
Yeah, I'll take a Terrell's brat any day at a barbecue.
What's your favorite Terrell's brat flavor?
I've always been just kind of a simple. He always did the jalapeno cheddar. I really like those ones. Those probably are my favorite. The one I just had last week was the Parmesan. That was really good.
His mushroom Swiss are really
mushroom
good.
Swiss are really good. I've never had a brat over there that I didn't like, honestly. So
the only bad situation I had with one of his brats was the apple pie brats, and it wasn't anything that it was bad about the brat. It's just when you have big chunks of apple in it and they come out screaming hot, it will burn the shit out of your mouth. Burn the shit out of your mouth.
Yeah, I can see that. I've never had that. That's kind of a...
Oh, dude, this was like a quarter. I mean, it was like the chunk of apple was just small enough to fit in the casing. Like, it was insane. It was insane.
I've never tried the apple ones over there. He doesn't do it. It can't be that it's there all the time, huh? Because it's not. I've never seen it.
Yeah, they're apple pie brats.
I know sometimes you get like the jalapeno cheddar, and you'll get like a complete. Yeah, you'll get like a complete chunk of a jalapeno come out of that. Oh man, that'll set your ass on fire. But that's my favorite, hands down. I pretty much go to Terrell's once a week to load up on some brats for pretty much every weekend. And then I just grill all of them because I can put them in the fridge and microwave them or whatever. So, or I found out too this past week, throw them in the air fryer.
Well, here's another thing for you, Mr. Blackstone. When you get them, cut the casing off. On your Blackstone, throw some oil down, some peppers, onions, get those nice and soft. Then take the brats out of the casing, mix it all up, throw some cheese when it's just about done, and then just put it in a bun.
Sure.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
Real good. All right. Well, my top 5. I'm gonna agree. Number 5, hot dog. I mean,
I feel like you're not American if you don't have a hot dog on at least on your list.
Yeah. I mean it's one of those staples that convenience, speed, and who doesn't like a hot dog?
Yeah, and but the only thing I will say, you got to grill them fuckers though.
Oh yeah.
Anybody that can just boil up hot dogs and eat that shit just. I think it's the water for me. Like you see the boiled water and it's got like all the fucking foam and shit in it. It's just I can't. Can't do that shit. But grill them.
Yeah. Low crispy on the outside. I'm 100% game. 100% game. My number 4, I'm gonna go potato salad.
Okay.
I do enjoy a good potato salad. I'm more of a mustard potato salad rather than mayo, but I enjoy both of them. Number 3, I'm going to stick with salads and say a pasta salad. I mean, any really good barbecue.
Yeah, you lost me on that. I can't go cold. I don't like cold.
You don't like cold?
Not a big cold food fan. Like if I get a sub, it's got to be heated up. If anything that a lot of people want cold, like just a basic peanut butter and jelly. Got to put that shit in the fucking toaster, man. I do not like cold.
Yeah, and then number two, I'm definitely going brats, and number 1 is a burger for me. Just because the smash burger game has changed burgers for me. Hands down. Especially as the one who does most of the cooking when it comes to outside cooking. Granted, Kristen and everyone else put together the salads. When it comes to meat, that's my department. And yes, I do enjoy smoking a brisket, smoking a pork butt, because my honorable mention is pulled pork. But then again, you're looking at 8 to 10 hours for that guy, and 12 to 13 for a brisket. Does it end up being worth it? Absolutely. But do I want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning to get the smoker ready for dinner? Nah, not a big fan.
Nope,
not a big fan. But anyway, I mean, it's as long as there's some sort of meat, you're having a good barbecue. Chicken wings is another one that is a staple.
Yeah.
Most people really don't think of grilling them, but to me, they're the best when they're grilled. But yeah, that's 2K Crew. What is your top 5 foods to have at a barbecue? Drop them in the comments. Let us know. Let us know if you agree. Let us know who has the best list out of ours. And yeah, I think that'll do it for us, 2Ks.
Yeah.
We went a little bit longer. But we weren't here last week. We weren't here last week. Give the folks what they want. More turbo and 2Ks.
I was just talking to Chell about this earlier in the weekend. It's not going to be long, and we're going to be talking about football.
Yes, I was talking to Kristen about that too.
It's about time that we start talking about draft strategy.
Fantasy football.
Yes, there's college football. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to look for. I mean, and look, I think it's safe to say baseball for both of us is our favorite. But I think the easiest thing to talk about is football.
Hands down.
And I think it's easy to talk about football because there's so many football fans. So I think you start to get the feedback from people. And that's when you start, you get somebody up here on here arguing, or Cody Bray's been talking about the Jets or something like that. Well, you know what? The Jets they're going to be something to talk about this season.
Can you imagine him kayaking with that big Jets boner once they start winning? That's going to be insane.
Look, win or lose this year for the Jets, they're going to be fun to talk about.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, that factor is there now, so we can talk on them. And the thing is, with the man that they got playing quarterback for them, I have to believe they're going to win some games.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Oh, we did not talk about our parlay for the week.
Yeah.
And the reason we forgot about it because I did not make a graphic for it. You took Scooble alternate strikeouts, 6 or more. He hit 5.
And only pitched 4 innings.
He was cruising. I thought that was going to hit easy.
I did not know that they were going to have him I knew that on the Oakland start, they came out and said like he's going to be on like a 50 pitch
Sure.
limit. And then, but today I thought, all right, this is his second star. Let's let him go a little bit more. And for him, for Skubal, I mean, I think we've seen it in the last year or two. He can strike batters out. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I saw that it was at like plus 350 or 380 for him to get 6 strikeouts. I'm like, I mean, if they let him go for 75, 80 plus, I think he gets that, and so he ended up pitching, I think, 58 pitches today through 4 innings and had 5 strikeouts. Yeah. So, unfortunately, they got us there. But at least I would have felt really shitty if Devers would have got his RBI.
Yeah. Yeah, because you also had Riley Green, 2+ bases.
He hit the home run.
Hits a dinger. I had Justin Turner, 2+ bases. I think he hit a double.
He hit a double, yep.
And I had Devers getting an RBI, and Devers went over.
Yeah.
So
I had a good feeling about this one today, too. I really thought when hit submit, I was like, man, that's going to happen.
All 4 of those were a plus 3,551.
Yeah, that was a good parlay. That really was. And more often than not, I feel like Devers gets an RBI, and
especially against the A's.
Under normal circumstances, Skubal gets his 6 strikeouts at least there. So, when I hit submit on that, I felt pretty good about that one. So.
I did too. But you know what? That's why they call it gambling.
Exactly. And you know what? We'll be doing it again next weekend.
Yes. And last thing before we get out of here, 2Ks, I need your pick for the home run derby tomorrow. Give me Pete right now.
I'm taking Adolis Garcia, Texas Rangers. Pete. Dude, I think the Rangers people just don't talk about him very much, but Garcia hits the shit out of the ball, and I think him in this environment, home run derby, just let him swing it. I'm going Garcia with it.
Let's see the odds. I haven't even looked at the odds. So of course I take the front runner. Pete is plus 300. Vlad Jr. 350. Lou Bob 400. J Rod 500. Garcia plus 700, and a Rosarena at 950. Adley Rushman at plus 2,000. Mookie Betts at plus 2,000.
Well, I got some money in that account, and I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna throw down 25 on Garcia tomorrow. Last night I won 250 something on the baseball game, and then
Nice.
I backed it up with another 125 on the UFC.
Nice. Now they with FanDuel 2Ks, they do have where you can bet the rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And the final round. Hold on. I remember maybe that comes out later, like tomorrow.
Yeah. So,
but you could pick the winner of each matchup, which it'll probably wait till tomorrow.
Sure.
But something to keep an eye on, because
parlay that up.
You could parlay that up, or you could last year. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like the more we move forward with this, the more stuff they're allowing us to parlay. So I don't see why they would take that away. But I made a killing doing that last year. I missed one.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that round's over, you got to get in there quick to get the next round.
Yeah.
So 2K crew, you degenerate gamblers, I'm pointing at you guys, not us. You guys.
So make sure that I don't have a problem.
The only problem I have is I don't win enough.
So what you learned tonight is you got to bet on the home run derby tomorrow, and you need to put $100 on Shohei to hit a home run the rest of the way out.
Yes, every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
And if there's anything to take from us, you want to take that one.
And if you want to be a cheap ass, definitely take home run when he starts. Because it seems like he hits better when he starts. So take that to the bank, 2K crew, and don't bill us if we're wrong, because you got to gamble responsibly. Well, 2K crew, we'll get you out of here on that. Everyone enjoy the home run derby, because honestly, I was more excited about the draft and the derby than the actual game itself. To me, the only cool part about the game itself is the on-field interviews, which I think is cool. And if they have some more of the pitchers and catchers mic'd up, that was pretty dope too.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool too. The 2K crew will get you out of here on that. Everyone enjoy yourselves. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.